first grade. Free kick in at the goalkeeper, long shot attempted. Oh! Great kick pass out wide. That is fantastic. That is sensational. And then the winner. Welcome to the 9th episode of the Blacktown Football Hour podcast, and this is not the only time you'll see me away from the normal background with the BDSFA signs. For our intro and outro, as well as our 3 segments, we're away from that signage, and we're going to continue that theme by, like I said, I've already done the interviews, so now we're going to record our intro and outro outside. So I hope you enjoy the change of scenery, the bit of ad-lib background, football noise being kicked and coaches yelling at their players and all that sort of good stuff, as it should be here on a Thursday evening. My name is Mark DePoli. Thank you as ever for joining us. If you're watching along on Spotify, make sure your notifications are turned on. On YouTube, make sure you've liked the video, subscribe to BDSFA TV or Spartans TV, wherever you're watching along from. And I'd like to thank you for A, pitching in, and B, I really hope that you can sit and enjoy the next hour of great football content. All local stuff happening here today, as well as some NPL related stuff, but I still consider that local. I think we should go right into our results for the week. Plenty to go through. We had our match of the round, we had our girls, our boys, our AOAL. So let's begin with that last one, the AOAL, who played here, and we had some really, really nice results. So our 13 started the day off fantastically with a 4-1 win. The 14s, who are just the team to watch, 6-0 win. The 15s had a 2-5 loss, unfortunately, with the 16s rounded off the day on a positive note with a huge 5-0 win. Of course, that was against SDSFA, Southern Districts Football Association. So really great to know. I mean, that's 17-6 our way on aggregate. And in terms of the table, it puts the 13s up into 5th now, right in that mid-table spot. 14s remain perched with 1 loss, 0 draws, and 6 wins from 7. They are 5 ahead of the team below them in second. 15s at the other end of the table, unfortunately, still looking for that elusive first win, but they'll get there, I'm sure. While the 16s have now pushed well above those below them to put some daylight between them with that big 5-0 win they had in that final game of the AYL day. But yeah, those 14s, the ones to watch, 6 wins from 7. Really, really good football. So if you can get yourself out here on Saturday mornings every other week, for sure do it. Let's look now at our girls, who are up against Manly United last Sunday. So the 14s continued their great streak. They won 2-1. Yes, it was a close game, but it was a great game to watch for sure. And shout out to John Maddox, the coach. If you give me the access to the files, I'll post the pictures on the social media pages. I just need that password, whatever it is. But fantastic photos, fantastic team, and it's great to see them doing well. 15s had a poor game by their own standards. Unfortunately, they went down 6-3 in what was a wickedly entertaining 9-goal thriller, to be honest. However, no points for them on the day, and they'll bounce back for sure. The 16s and the 18s then had similar sort of scorelines. They lost 3-1 and 2-0 respectively. So those teams are on their way back at the moment, but still looking to really hit their best form. But yeah, we're only in round 3 or 4, so 3 I do believe. So plenty of time for them to get it right. Our reserve grade side then as well played here against Manly, tying at 1-1. And that I'll show you the goals for. Hope you enjoyed those goals as well. Our first grade girls, of course, they also played against Manly, but they also had a midweek game back here on the Tuesday night against Sydney University. So I'll show you the results from their Manly United game, which was, I've lost my place on the page. So the 0-0 with Manly, but I'll keep the score of the midweek game against Uni a secret until you watch the highlights. So I'll put those through now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Blacktown Football Park. Welcome to round 3 of NPL New South Wales women's football action. It's the Blacktown Spartans and Manly United doing battle. Early chance for the Spartans down the left-hand side, off the crossbar. As we see down the left-hand side. Chance for Manly on the edge of the box. Not a bad ball in, but Jane. Now it's Dasco on the right. Cross comes in. There's bodies at the back post. Somehow it doesn't find the back of the net. Ball forward. Intercepted though, albeit briefly. Here's a chance for Blacktown down the left. Galea has a shot from range off the crossbar again. Rebound. Sits up for Blacktown, but nobody there in orange and black. It goes out for a goal kick. Zara whips it in. That's a good ball in. The head was on target and James had to make the claim. Blacktown on the attack here. Beats a couple. Nice run towards the byline. Bodies in motion. Simonson falls on it. Dasco out to the right. Shot comes in. Forces a save. Rebound. Won't go in. Third effort across the face of goal. Somehow Manly remain level in this one. They've had to hold up play for the moment. Here's a lovely ball down the left-hand side for Carly Johnson. Johnson to the left edge of the 18-yard box. Has a crack from 20 and picks out the keeper, but not a bad effort. Galea was charging through onto it, but Simonson had it covered. Markovsky has a shot from range. Inside the box, Carly Johnson lays it back. Do they want to shoot? Somebody's going to have to pull the trigger in a moment. Doran chips the keeper off the crossbar and out. Now the counter, if you know what I mean. Goldstein and Markovsky chasing forward, but backing back is Stewart. And that'll be the final play of the evening here at...
Welcome to Blacktown Football Park for this Tuesday night encounter between the Blacktown Spartans and Sydney University. Now Markovsky. Nash looking for a ball over the top. He wasn't too far from Lemon. And Newbond spills it again. Ball over the top. Dealt with only half. Here's Markovsky, and the first shot of the game. It's taken almost 30 minutes. Galea with a great ball. Rosie Galea. Here's an opportunity. Ash Crofts has taken an age to set up, but she does in the end. And Markovsky, there is the best opportunity of the match so far. Here's some high pressure. Abby Lemon gets in. She'll get there first, and she'll find the first goal of the evening. And out of nothing, the home team have hit the front. It was a high press on a poor pass. Rosie Galea just high over Newbond's goal. Uni give the ball straight back to the Spartans. Under a bit of pressure here. Barazio can't get onto that pass. Casper's off the bar. It's still not away. And now Spartans get away with one. Jones. And here's an opportunity for Holly Caspers. And she had to have done better there. Still not a lot of red shirts in the box. There's quite a few around the box. Late run here. But Awea gets there, and it's saved by Sally James. But Sally James somehow got there. Another great ball in. It's flicked to the far post, and it's just over the bar. Delivery once more into the box. Another great ball. Evades Badawea. Low. Just over the bar. Corner kick. But there will be no more time for Sydney University.
So that means 0 goals conceded so far, 2 wins and a draw from our opening 3 games for first grade. Reserve grade with a little bit more work to do, but that's okay. They're getting on their way as well. Let's move on to our match of the round before we talk about the Spartans boys, because I want to leave that till last. Our match of the round, certainly an unexpected result. It was really good to go away from Blacktown Football Park. We went to Minchinbury Reserve, Minchinbury Oval, whatever you want to call it. It's different on Google Maps to what it says outside the ground, so we'll go with Reserve today. They're the high-flying surprise package of the season, but unfortunately not to be on the day. They lost by a considerable margin. I'll put up those goals now, and keep your eye. I haven't decided yet, but there might be a goal of the week contender in that highlights package, so have a look and see if you can pick which one you think is my favourite. Defensive position as well, a back five, like I said. That's a really nice piercing ball, but just intercepted by Lancaster, who's then given it away, and then the shot attempted, and a goal! A ridiculously silly goal to concede, and George Marcoux is his marquee moment, this one for sure. Performance for the reserve grade side, although a numerical advantage for those in red and blue. Marcoux past the keeper, has he got two? He does! 2 to the good, 2 for Marcoux. And I said he'd want to have a good performance on the match of the round, considering one of the misses he had in the first game, but boy, has he made amends for that. He's not just done that. He's announced himself as one of the best strikers in the deployed PL2 competition. Romanian club you might have recognised from that second word I said, reference to Bucharest, city in Romania. I'm going to leave Romania alone for a second as they come forward again, prospect, and this will be a dreadnought of a goal. Marcoux has skipped brilliantly past the keeper, and that might just do it, you know. A hat-trick for the ever-brilliant George Marcoux, who's put Prospects 3 to the good, and the last game they played was a 7-1 dropping of Blacktown Premier Spurs. And you know what? I wouldn't say at this rate that kind of result is that far off the momentum of the ball completely, and now Prospect are coming forward again. Fossano, brilliant. How are they being left this unmarked? Cheeky finish attempted, and a goal given! Prospect make it 4. No offside flag to bury their hopes and dreams this time. Instead, they're burying Minchinbury in their own backyard. Bundles of space and energy up against tired legs. Knee dances towards the near post. Could have gone down, doesn't square. Goal again. A 5th one. Tucked in at the back stick. Great switch of play. He's onside. He's kicked it backwards. It's a fantastic clearance in the end. As well, he goes the same way. Knee. Good tackle in there. Hands all over him. A penalty has been given. It's about to become 6. Should they score from 12 yards? An even happier man. Tsakos scores. Bottom left-hand corner, 6 to the good, Prospects. And enjoy the post-match interviews as well, so here they come straight away. Like, I actually don't like to bring you in front of the camera in front of this, but it's part of the job, it's all part of a learning process for everyone involved. I'll just keep it short and simple. Where do you think it went wrong today? Was it just perhaps the mental approach? Were they just that much better than you? I don't think they were. Where did it go wrong?
Yeah, look, obviously facing the cameras after that, it's not easy, but we'll take the loss. You know, I don't think we were good enough all day, and there's, you know, a lot of players that need to, you know, have a look in the mirror. Some that aren't here as well, who have duties to be here, and they're not. It's definitely our worst game this season. I've never seen the boys play like that, behave like that, perform that way. So yeah, we just have to, you know, take it and get ready for the next one, because obviously it's not good enough. I suppose just on a positive note, you know, just want to thank the club and, you know, the young ones that come out and walked out with us, the Anzac March, you know. I think we put, you know, strides forward in, you know, that area, but unfortunately on the pitch it was quite embarrassing. So,
thank you. I'm here with today's winning coach. Coach, you won by 6 today, Peter. You've got to be, you know, compared to what we had in the last match of the round when you guys featured against your bitter rivals Eastern Creek, you must be a lot happier with that.
Right, good performance. The boys all put in. We're short on plays in our first grade, right? So we brought some players up. They all matched it. Like I said to you at the start of the season, I said we've got boys that will come up and can match it, and it was good. And like I said, each time as we go along, it gets better and better and better, and the games will get better. Yeah. Boys get fit. That's all we need. It's all good.
What's that? 13 goals in your last 180 minutes. I mean, that's a serious threat to every other squad in the side in the league.
Look, like I said, man, we'll look at next week's game, and I'm not saying we're going to run away with it, but each game we play, we've got to play with what's in front of us and got to keep going.
So, you know, the first match of the round doesn't go your way. This one absolutely does. You get written by 12 in the next match. Is that sort of?
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. But look, depends on the day, man. Depends how the boys turn up and play. they come up and they switched on, we can score a lot of goals. So
You've got Mick here who's watching on, and you've got George who just ran off, and you've got those boys there who are listening in, even though they don't want to admit that they are. So who is your pick of the bunch today?
Today, look, I'll say Michael Cody up front did really well. Look, Mick does a great job. He's a warhorse, man. He's a battered man, and he plays really well. But I think Michael Cody and even Monzi that played, they're the 20s that I brought up. They're the two players I said they could play first grade team. But again, collectively as a team, I think they all did really well. So I was happy with all of it.
Well, we'll see you next week again, 7 p.m.
We'll do. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Finally, our Spartans, boys and men. Let's begin with the former. They were up against Northern Tigers, really tough opposition. There were some mixed results. So our 13s went down 5-3, but their games, if you have been following along, their games started really poorly at the start of the season. To see them now coming in contention and at least competing for games, I think is a whole lot better. I'm not going to sit here and glorify losing games, but I just think that the results and performances are improving, and so therefore we should be looking at and encouraging better performances. So for sure, that's 14s who are probably not playing as good as they want just yet. I know how much Team Aiken wants that team to be going, as well as Grant as well. So the 14s are tied at 1. I know they want to fix up the defence quick, smart, and they'll be able to turn those 1 points into 3. The 15s then lost 2-1. They're training around here now, trying to fix that, as well as the 14s over there and the 16s behind me. So I know that they'll be back to their best. They had a win last week, so I know they want to fix that up when they come back here this weekend. The 16s are back to their winning ways, 1-0, clean sheet, they'll be happy with that. And the 18s, they lost 3-2. Very entertaining game though, 5 goals, I never complain. However, the men, yes, I know the 20s, they did lose, and it was by a considerable margin, and I won't show the highlights from that just because there's no point, because I'd rather focus on the boys. A big result. I won't spoil the end score. Let me just show you the highlights, courtesy of NPL TV. Thank you for letting us use your content. Here we go.
Taken quickly by Keith Buckley in midfield. Here's Bangura. Looking for Lamberton. Spartans with their first extended spell of possession in the Mariners half. Lamberton. Finding Bangura again on that right side. It's looking towards Gonzalez, who breaks the deadlock early for the Spartans. What a confidence booster that could be. Emmanuel Gonzalez with his second goal in orange and black. Turned up a chance earlier, but he took that one. Gonzalez goal just after the 10-minute mark. Lovely header. Across from this man, Suleiman Bangura, who's run into the box. Lamberton with a chance, and the finish. The Spartans, number 9, 4th of the season for the new signing from Wollongong. He's enjoying life in orange and black, and they're enjoying having him.
Huge 2-0 win over Central Coast Mariners. As you see me getting rid of my sheet, I will have all the results down. A ball's just come here. I'm wondering if I should leather it on camera, but I don't think I'll do that. I'll pull a hamstring, unfortunately. That's just the way I am now. But yeah, no, huge result. And the reason why I wanted to put the boys, especially the men, last is because we actually spoke to 2 of their players. 2 have been on the ball there. 2 who have been really good for them this season, and are really involved in training and are really top personalities. So I want you to keep out for the second interview sort of segment as we move into that. Speaking of interview segments, I'll tell you what's happening now. So first up is Liam Roach from iSponsor, who are one of the major sponsors of the association. And he is a really nice guy, as I'll introduce him when you actually do watch the interview in a couple of seconds. I would love everybody to get involved with iSponsor, and I'll talk about it a bit at the end. And you'll hear me talk about it in the interview segment. But it's really important that we start to wrap our head around this, and we can be helping out our local clubs without even trying, really. So if you want to be able to help your local club make money and be able to buy new footballs, new mannequins, be able to have, I don't know, more sauce at the canteen, whatever it is, I can tell you how you can do that without spending an extra cent. Stick around. Of course, then the Spartans boys are involved in Section 2, and then our match of the round preview for this weekend, which is back here at Blacktown Football Park. We're not going to interview the Prospect boys because they've been on too many times. They're going to get sick of it too easily. But the Quakers Hill Tigers boys are here. We've actually visited them, but they'll be back here this weekend to see what they can do and strut their stuff. I will see you at the end where I'll announce the goal of the week and wrap up the video. But until then, thanks for tuning in and enjoy the interviews. Our first guest for this week's Blacktown Football Hour podcast is none other than Liam Roach. He's a bloke that I've had the pleasure of meeting a couple of times on Zoom. Unfortunately, never in person, but perhaps that can happen soon. He works at iSponsor. He's the National Sales Director there. If you've never heard of iSponsor, you've got 20 minutes now to kick back and listen. It's a way that you can. It's an app basically in very short form. It's an app designed to help you and your club to basically make your daily purchases, or perhaps a couple of leisure-related purchases, and give back to your club and local football in the process. That's the very simple crux of it. Liam's a guy who's helped me out a lot, and we've been trying to find the best way to get you. Get your ears onto this and help your own club out. And I think when I reached out to him for a podcast segment, you got 20 minutes. He was quick to say yes, I want to be involved. So thanks for joining us, Liam. I really do appreciate it.
Not a problem, mate. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem at all. It's been a pleasure so far. Look, let's jump straight into a little bit about you first. Just as we were talking about before my Zoom cut out of me. Just prior to this, why don't you tell me a little bit about your role at iSponsor, and then I think we can talk a little bit more about what iSponsor is.
Yeah, beautiful. Mate, so as you mentioned before, my role here at iSponsor is National Sales Director. Pretty big title, mate, but look after the sales team, have a heap of clients myself as well, much like you, mate. So, yeah, I think we've got about 1,200 groups on the app, pretty much divvied up between a few sales staff, and then I look after all the sales staff and make sure we're all hitting our KPIs and stuff like that, mate, reporting directly to the CEO, mate. So that's a little bit about my role here.
Well, you mentioned the CEO there. So let's talk about what I'm actually not sure if it's still the same CEO.
Yeah, Richard.
It is still Richard. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what his sort of intention was and the meaning behind building this app, this program, and then we'll just go straight into what it does.
Yeah, beautiful. So I suppose how iSponsor was born was trying to get back sponsorship to what it used to be. Now, I know Richard always tells a story. He was a concreter and sponsored his local footy club. And he was standing on the hill one day chatting to, a club member, and they were telling him how they just got a new driveway done. Obviously didn't use Richard. So, he was looking for a way to improve that process and try and make sure that a sponsor can get recognition, through a platform and directly marketed to the audience, so that the opportunities there for businesses that are throwing money at clubs can actually see an ROI. It's a big thing sponsoring a club sometimes, and there's an inability to see a return on your investment for sponsors. But it's also, connecting those local businesses to the local clubs, which is how it was born. And you mentioned before that it's an app. We also do have a web app as well, so you can shop through just the web platform too, which a lot of people do, surprisingly. That's sort of how it came to light and, kicked off. Richard was working on it for about 2.5 years prior to the app launching, which happened in October 2020. Had an app out now for about, say, 14, 15 months. And our new version of the app is very, very close to coming out. It's a lot sleeker, better user experience. So we're much looking forward to that, and is just around the corner too.
Fantastic to hear, actually. Like, very, very good. And still saying new as well. So plenty of time for development to come along. And
definitely. Bug fixes, mate, we like to call them.
That's right. That's what all my apps need updating on. So maybe that's why my Zoom crashed before, because it needs a bug fix. So look, why don't you tell our audience who are keen to learn about iSponsor, how does the app work? And what I mentioned at the start was that they can give back to their own clubs, which everyone wants to do post-COVID, etc.
Yeah.
How can they help out their own club?
Well, beautiful. Good question. So, mate, rather than just talk, I might share my screen and give you a bit of a demo too. All right. You should be able to see my screen now.
Indeed, I can.
All right. Beautiful. Pretty much how it works. As you mentioned, it's an opportunity for everyone to give back. All the BDSFA clubs are now on the platform. So how it works, simply go into the App Store or the Google Play Store, download the app and select your club as the beneficiary. Now, how it works, think of it like a shopping platform where a percentage of your purchase goes back to the club you've chosen. Now, just for this exercise, you'll see that I have got this little club up here selected, which is Maribyrnong Park AFL Club. So how it would work, if I wanted to buy a new pair of Nike shoes, what I can do is I can search up here, go into sport and fitness. I can go direct to the Nike store, which is there, or I can look through other retailers that would sell Nike, which are things like you've got JD Sports, Foot Locker, who are on the platform. So if I type in JD there, I can go into JD Sports. For some reason, that image isn't loading, but it's simple as going shop now. And that will take me from the iSponsor app into the JD website. Now, all I would do in here is, go about a purchase as per normal. And then when I suppose check out at the process end, like most of us do, it's left a digital cookie to say that the sale has come through iSponsor. So if we have a look back here, it's 5% on your purchases. So if I spend $200 on a pair of shoes, $10 will go straight back to my club. That's how simple it is. There's literally is something on here for everyone. You'll see our trending brands, Good Guys, Aim Up Furniture, catch.com.au. But there's also things like travel and holidays, which you'll see here. We've got booking.com on the platform. So I can go in here, I can book my holidays through here and raise money for the club. There's even things like you'll see here, it's co-branded with iSponsor, which is pretty cool. Obviously, I've been looking at going to Bali, as you can see there. Look, that's how simple it is. There's also really unique stuff on here as well. Like if I type in that, you'll see I can even do my alcohol shopping. And for a club who's buying grog to put at the bar and at the canteen, this is a way you can do it and raise a bit of money. Because if you're buying alcohol every week to fill up your supplies yourself, here's a way you can earn money for it as well. So once you complete a purchase, what you'll notice is it will pop over to your leaderboard, which hopefully can start looking something like this in time. You can start to create a regular monthly income for your club. So that's how the online feature works. Hopefully that all makes sense. I'll get Mark to put my email address if anyone has any questions. Now, our in-store transactions, as I mentioned before, is purely what iSponsor was built on. It's about connecting local businesses to the local clubs. And here you'll see an exclusive sponsor section. Now, these businesses, this little old club up here, Maribyrnong, has gone out and sourced itself. So they've brought on their own local bottle shop, their own local pub. So, they can go in here, spend $100, a couple of cartons of beers and get $8 back for the club. The only difference between online and in-store is the actual point of sale and how we track the transaction. So if you're walking into a store, if I walk into this bottle shop here, I don't have to say or do anything. I literally just pay with whichever Visa or debit card I have linked in the platform. So you'll see that over here. You can have up to 4 cards linked. We do not store your card details. It's simply sent to Visa or MasterCard, and that is your unique identity on our platform. So anytime this card that I have linked touches an FPOS machine or a point of sale at any one of these businesses, or that the club has brought on, or that we have provided here, that's how we track the transaction. So
sorry, go on.
You're all right. I was just going to say pretty simple stuff. You literally buy it, pay with the card you have linked, and we track that transaction and make sure that rebate comes back to the club.
So it literally is as simple as I want to do some online shopping, or I'm going to go do some in-store shopping. But I know that I can give a percentage of what I make, which will not be added on to what I pay at the end. It will
Yep.
be exactly what I would normally pay, except if
Yep.
I take the extra 2 seconds to go through this app and click on
Yep.
this thing, which tracks, the one step after I click off the app,
Yep.
you are giving back to your local club, which inadvertently helps them, which helps your son, your daughter who's playing, could help you who's playing, an extra bag of balls for your Premier League side,
Yep.
extra set of mannequins for free kick practice. It's as simple as that. And if everybody gets involved, that 2% adds up.
That's
or
exactly
8% even quicker will add up. So
Yeah.
that's what I have discovered in my time using the app. I think maybe some people might be wondering, if I use this once, I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be giving too much back. But I think, and this is something we spoke about many moons ago, but if everybody was to use it once and make a big purchase for, maybe they got some people coming over and they do want to buy $100 to $200 worth of alcohol, or they do buy those boots once and, it's an 8%, so $200 boots at $16. It's a significant amount of money.
Yes.
Is that something that you guys talk about back at sort of headquarters? That like, even if you use it once, if a lot of people use it once, it's going to help out?
Oh, definitely. But the whole idea behind it, Mark, is to have your club getting the local butcher on. So it's a weekly expense. If you got like this one here, this physio, it was really cool. We saw their first month they joined the platform, they had one transaction. The next month they had 5, and now they're sitting between 40 and 60 transactions per month from this one club, which is just fantastic to see. So for this business, they've increased their revenue through iSponsor too. It doesn't cost the business a cent until the supporters of the club are in there spending money. Having something on there like a butcher is huge, because it's money we spend every week. A lot of time, the little guy that sponsors a club gets ignored because it's easy to go to Coles and Woolworths. But this is what this is built on. I remember playing footy myself, mate. Used to go into the butcher every week and he would say to me, "How many tries do you score on the weekend?" And I knew him by name and he knew my first name, and he'd hand me a Cheerio. Those days tend to be gone a bit, mate. And that's what we're trying to get back, bringing clubs and businesses together, supporting the people who support you. And as you mentioned, it's super important now more than ever after COVID for us to band together and, help each other out, pat each other on the back, and get things moving in the right direction again.
Yeah, for sure. Look, we have, as you know, we have 24 local clubs. And one thing that we always make sure as an association is that every post that goes up is always rounded off by the hashtag We Are One. Because in the end, we are one 10,000 strong community, and that's and helping out our local businesses as well as our clubs is something that we'd like to do. Of course, I think everybody would agree that they would be willing to get involved. If there were businesses that wanted to put themselves onto that page, how do they go about that?
Mate, it's much the same as a process for a soccer club to get involved. They literally reach out. They can contact myself directly. They can submit an inquiry via our website, which is just which we'll post in the notes on this. It's very, very simple, mate. Submit an inquiry. Myself or one of the other sales staff will get in touch. We'll get you signed up. Another important thing to mention there is, if you are traveling around the country, you can jump on the iSponsor app if you're hungry and say, "What's around me?" And you can be in WA and go to a local restaurant and raise money for your club back in Blacktown. It's pretty cool. I had a phone call from a lady who said she went to the local bowling alley when she was visiting her mum in WA and raised $25 for her club back in Queensland, which was a pretty cool story to hear. Things like that. It's not confined. Exclusive sponsors only stay on in the area for certain clubs, but the businesses we've provided, which there are over 1,000 of, is there for every single club to start using immediately so they can start raising money.
There you go. So it literally is as simple as typing in your club. So we looked at Eastern Creek Pioneer before. But if it's Eastern Creek or it's Minchinbury or it's Rudy Hill or it's Lords or it's any of those 24 clubs, and again, I know I'm probably not going to be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong, but so you hook yourself to that club, and then everything you do that comes through that app, every redirection to a website where you want to buy shoes or grog, this and that, that's how you make the money. And that's
exactly right.
And that's
exactly. Yeah, that's how it works, mate. So you can, if you guys are visiting Sydney, you can jump on the app, see what restaurants are around, walk in there. If you hook to Eastern Creek Pioneer, you literally walk into that business, you tap your card. You don't have to do a secret handshake or a high five. You just tap your card on their point of sale. By the time you've hopped back in your car, you'll get a little notification saying, congratulations, from your lunch, you just earned $6 for your club. It's a gratifying experience too. The simplicity of it is what makes it so humbling and, very, very easy to use. And once you get a roll on, you saw what can start to happen for your club.
That's right. Have you got any, I think as a last question before I let you get back to what you're doing, but have you got any sort of other specific examples like that like that woman who went from the Queensland club into WA? Have you got any more sort of stories like that where people have reached out to you and gone, yeah, like this has been really helpful, or maybe I discovered a restaurant or a brand that I didn't know existed prior? Have you got any more stories like that? I know it's really off the top of your head, but
yeah, mate, I've got plenty. I've got there was a guy in Melbourne, and he was selling the day his club, this is Geelong Rangers football club. So the day they downloaded the app, he was actually selling his car and was going to get it detailed. He spent, I think, $1,100 on a detail and raised $300 in one transaction for his club. So, when just jumped on the app, saw what was around, thought, oh my God, there's a car detailing place down the road. How convenient is that? Went down there, car detailed, $300 in one transaction back for his club. So, that's
the leaderboard for sure. Yeah,
that's right. So at the top of the leaderboard for the club, and if you put that in terms of how many sausages it would take to cook to add up to that, it's quite easy to see how powerful this can be. So if everyone gets involved, and even if we start with every single committee member getting on the app, having that user experience and having a crack at it, it will hopefully spread through like wildfire through your district. Businesses will be throwing themselves to get involved.
And just off the top of my head as well, like if I think about it, some of our bigger clubs are pushing towards sort of 750,000 members. Some of them are hanging around 150 odd. But even still, if one person has that moment to remember, I'm doing this, if I can do this through iSponsor as well and help out my club, like $300. We did, I don't mean to talk about another sponsor while we're here, but we had Deploy Football who make our footballs. They did a shootout challenge with our Premier League at the start of the year, and the winner won $500. So if you think about how much importance was on that for them, because each club was competing in being able to hit a ball into a certain area. Like $500 was huge in terms of club gear. So if one person can raise 300, yes, it's an extreme example, but whether you've got 150 club members or 700, there is potential for if two people do that, like
that's exactly right.
Level, that's a huge amount of money, and you're not like sort of donate. It's not like a foundation sort of thing. In that sense, like you're raising it without trying. So it's a no-brainer if you just have the patience and the whereabouts and the know-abouts to just take that extra step. There's no reason why you can't help out your club.
Mate, it's funny you mentioned before the smaller clubs. We've actually got a one-team cricket club on the app. So there's 11 people on the app. Wow. And they're in regional New South Wales, to be honest, and they're raising $250 a month. 11 people.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah. So, and then we've got clubs with 12,000 players who are raising $6 a month. So it really is, you get out of it what you put into it. Your committee has to start the culture and it will feed down. It's not going to be an overnight success. It's a bit of elbow grease. But once you get it up and running, it can be highly profitable and, can provide longevity for the clubs. If COVID hits again the way it did, there might not be some of the clubs around, mate, and it's a harsh reality. So, if there's money coming in regularly, we hope that we can stop some clubs shutting down.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And it might not have been the first thing that your CEO Richard would have thought of when he was coming.
No, we weren't planning on launching an app during COVID, mate.
Exactly, and then all of a sudden, it can be a lifesaver. So I'm sure that there's a couple of examples that perhaps you have from there as well. But we're coming right up to that sort of 20 to 25 minute mark, and I don't want people to sort of not listen to these important things because all these questions are important. So I will cap us there. But yeah, again, look, in summary, it's a simple sign up. Your credit card details are not kept on the app. You take two extra steps to go through to do your online shopping, and there is in-store options as well. And you can help your club out while you live your normal life.
Yeah,
which is a really cool thing. It's very rare, and when I first heard about it, my mind was blown. So I hope everybody is watching along and downloading the app as we speak. I'll edit in some music now. I'll whip out the guitar and start recording stuff. I'll play some sort of elevator music like I mentioned before.
And what we'll do is we'll bang the QR code up right now so people can scan it.
There it is. Yeah,
exactly. There it is. Get on there. Select your club. Yeah. Look, mate, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Just one thing I will mention, it's not only your credit card, it's any Visa or MasterCard. So that can be debit or credit. You can have up to 4 linked because a lot of people have club cards, credit cards, debit cards, and work and business cards too. So that's the only reason the last 4 digits are in there, so you know what's linked.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Excellent. All right, Liam, thanks very, very, very much for your time.
No, thank you for having me, Mark. Really appreciate it.
You're going to look underneath. You're going to look right here. Welcome back to the podcast. This is section 2, our Blacktown Football Hour podcast for the week. My name is Mark Topoli, but I've already told you all this. I'm rambling on, and we may as well just get straight into the questions. I'm joined by, and don't quote me on this, quote the coach, not me, the 2 ginger ninjas next to me. Fortunately, we're missing out on one of them who's strategically pulled out on purpose, so good on him. But I'm joined by Hutcho and Lambo, a striker and fullback respectively. Striker, fullback, and they're here to answer a whole bunch of questions for us, and I think it'll be really exciting. So we've had a couple of players from this and the coach, of course, feature at the start of the year on our podcast. So that was Captain Alex Gollan and Andrew Montgomery, the coach. We heard a bit about their pre-season and how they played, as well as a whole bunch of other things as how they're approaching the season. It's been, a quarter of the season since then. Plenty of results to talk about, and a big one very recently that I think we'll spend the majority of today talking about. But without further ado, just thanks for joining us, guys. I really do appreciate it. Thanks. Really, I know you're out here in slides and there's Mozzies about, so I hate to keep you standing still for 10 minutes, but it's all part of the fun. So, look, I'll just get you to start with probably just a little bit about yourself so the people know. So I'll give you the mic as well. Tell me a little bit about, start with your age, full name, and sort of what clubs at this level you've come to before you came to here.
Beautiful. Well, yeah, my name's Jack Hutchings. Originally started my career with Blacktown Spartans. Moved on to some other clubs like Blacktown City and Sydney Olympic. Ended up with a little bit of a stint at Western Sydney Wanderers. Made my way back to Blacktown Spartans.
Pass it on.
Thank you. I'm Hamish Lambertson. I'm 22. I'm from Bathurst, so I was playing with Sydney United for my bit of youth. I was there for 2 years before I signed with Sydney FC. I was with Sydney FC for 2 years. Then I moved down to Wollongong, where I lived down there for 2 years. And then, my first year back in Sydney, so I'm at Spartans now.
So I guess you could say, before we go into the first sort of questions that I've got written down, but a bit of a junior compared to, I'd say, a bit more of a journeyman, if you don't mind me saying, which is, it's not a bad thing. You're just waiting to find your home, which is something I'm trying to do now as well. Yeah. Talk to me, what was it like coming through Spartans at those junior ranks, and is it satisfying now to be back here in that high level?
We came from a sort of a great footballing team in those young sort of age groups. We stuck together for a few years. We had some great results. I know we won the league back in under 13s. It's great to be back in the club. Obviously, it's got a place in my heart at the moment. Sort of continuing my journey here.
And you talked specifically about Illawarra prior to this, and we spoke about this before the game that I covered against Sydney CBD about half a week ago. Can you tell us about what it's like? Just yes, Sydney technically, but it's so many different places. 2 hours away here, 2 hours away there. What's all that like? Moving to all these different places and just not being able to settle. And now, I guess being able to settle a little bit more.
It's been a real crazy ride, especially because even before I moved back to Bathurst, I was in America and stuff like that before that as well. So I've had 2 years in 4 different cities since I was 14 years old, sort of thing. So I'm always moving around. So it's almost normal for me at this stage. I moved to Sydney with my sister when I first moved to come play for Sydney FC. So obviously I was still with family and stuff like that there. So I wasn't too hectic. But when I moved to Wollongong was the first time that I'd just been out by myself completely. I had no family and stuff down there, so it was eye-opening, but obviously it's built character and stuff like that, so came a long way, and it helped me out a lot, I think, as well, just personally and stuff like that, to go out and experience something on my own. I'm very happy, and I'm a lot more confident in myself now that I'm back in Sydney as well.
Fantastic. I'm not going to ask you to compare what team vibes are like as to where you've been to other places and stuff, because obviously Sydney FC would be totally different to the Wanderers, who are different to everyone else. So let's talk about this team culture before we go into really the most serious questions where I ask you to put on a straight face. Both of you just sort of chime in. I was here and I saw the celebration against you for your most recent game, and it was good, and there was a real sort of togetherness. Do you think when you go into your next game and when you go into hopefully the grand final in a couple of months, that team sort of environment is one that's really stood out for you guys and made this place a desirable place to be? Start with you.
I think that that team culture and sort of the connection that we have came from day one. I don't think there was ever a shy moment of where the team was dispatched at all. I think the wins obviously are bringing us closer and closer together. Hopefully we can keep that sort of connection going into the later or the back end of the season.
Something that resonates with you?
I have to agree. Obviously, being in the youth system, I feel is obviously a lot different to being in the senior team. So even when I came down to Wollongong, was obviously a very different experience again. But I have to say, I didn't actually think I don't think I knew anyone when I came here, to be honest. I knew Andy just because I'd played against him in teams. But obviously, these are just boys that I've played against in the past. And it's probably the easiest I've came in and just gelled with the squad as well. So I think it goes a long way. With the team that Andy's put together and the characters that we have. And I think, like Hutcho said, the wins and stuff like that, now that we're getting that confidence as a team, I think it's only building what we've had and what we're building.
Fantastic. Now, this is where we talk about sort of the results that have happened so far, and that's sort of since I chatted to your coach and to your captain just before the season started, actually. Now, results, you won't mind me saying that they've been a bit difficult to come by. Those 3 points have come to us prior to the most recent weekend only once, and that can be difficult. And I think you'll agree in saying that a lot of games have been decided very late on. And I think yes, we've had some ones where we've clawed results back. I think there was one in particular, I think it was SD Raiders, where we scored in that last minute. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that can be difficult when you play for 90 minutes or 93 minutes at a time, and then it slips away. And I can see you laughing because I know it's difficult, and sometimes that's the only way to get through it. This is different. We were probably I think we were the better team over Central Coast Mariners in a 2-0 win, by the way, if you haven't seen it. And that's a fantastic team to beat. So we invited them here, and we played the Spartans way, and we got a fantastic 3 points out of it. Like I said, against very good opposition. So talk to me about, how did you approach this game any differently? I don't expect you to say yes, but did you approach this game any differently, perhaps mentally? And how satisfying is it? Not quite a weight off the shoulders, because there's still plenty of the season to go, but is there almost a weight off the shoulders in now believing we can beat a top team, and we know now in ourselves, with proof in the pudding, that we can actually do it?
Yeah, look, I think the start of the season obviously not fantastic. I think though in a lot of those games we did sort of have opportunities, and those teams, unfortunate in those cases where we didn't. But yeah, I think the ability now to roll on and sort of develop on what we've originally started, I think that's there. And I think as we sort of grow that little bit more confidence, I think we'll only see more and more better results looking towards the future.
Something that you agree with, I guess?
Yeah, I do agree with that for the most part. Obviously, I think the biggest thing as well, we only had a couple of our visa players and stuff like that. They came pretty late into our pre-season, and obviously they're going to be a core part of what we do going forward and stuff like that. And obviously, niggly injuries and stuff like that was happening. Like I can say for myself, for those first 3 weeks of the season, I was struggling to see 60 minutes, even when I was playing. Like I was just in a bit of pain, and obviously that's why I missed the St George game and stuff like that. So I think that the squad that we had, we didn't quite have the connection that we needed, like what we've established in the last couple of weeks and stuff like that. And I think obviously, especially that game, obviously Sydney CBD, I think that was a big momentum game in terms of how we want to play and like stuff like that. So the structure we want to play with. It was the first time that we really, I feel like, especially St George the week before, even though we lost 2-0, the quality of football that we actually played, obviously, like you said, like last 10 minutes was when we started conceding those goals, which hurt. But the majority of that game, we were by far the better team, deserved to win. So I think it was these last couple of weeks have just been building up to what we produced on the weekend. I do think that it will carry forward.
And I think from a sort of subjective viewpoint, I can't obviously confirm this, plus I'm not in the team. But I think you're talking about visa players. I think particularly when two of your visa players are you sort of sixes and eights. Like yeah. I know that there's no position that's more important than the other, but literally the middle of the park. Like you know what I mean. So it can be difficult when that's your connection and you don't get to gel with them for a while. So perhaps that's why performances have been getting better rather than starting better. Yeah. I also know that you guys had a really a top-tier fitness coach / conditioning coach coming at the start of the season, and Golan and Monty spoke about that at the start of the year. Now, I know you spoke about 60 minutes in the legs originally. Yeah. Have you found that some of that conditioning work has been the reason why you're now putting out 85, 90-minute performances?
Well, I missed the majority of pre-season, to be honest, because I was so chop and start. So I think for me, it was probably a lot of stuff I was doing outside of football that was hurting me more than anything. So, yeah, obviously Shan, I don't like saying too many nice things about him, but he's a top strength and conditioning coach, and he's done a lot of good work with the other boys. Obviously, we've only had injuries to like 2 or 3 players sort of thing. So he's done a phenomenal job. I'll say that quietly. But yeah, so obviously for me. Yeah, it's just the build-up for me that made it so choppy and I was struggling so much. But obviously I go and see him all the time and, we put in the work and now obviously I'm feeling better than ever and I'm ready to smash it out for the rest of the year.
I think Woody mentioned they're feeling better than ever. Now that might be something you can throw away, but did you have your entire pre-season?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
So are you feeling like you're at maybe just a 5% better fitness level than maybe you are on previous seasons? Is that something you've noticed?
Yeah, look, definitely. I think the way we sort of worked into that pre-season, I think it's showing definitely in terms of our football, our capability to play for 90 minutes at the sort of the style we want to play at. I think the opportunities that we got with Shan, doing things like our beach sessions, and even just our sort of weekly running regime. I think it's definitely improved personally, sort of that level that I want to play at particularly.
Fantastic. My last question to you guys, because I don't want to keep you for too much longer, but I've been told to ask about a certain tradition on Friday nights. Now, I know you guys have a big involvement in this. So, Lambo, we'll start with you. Why don't you tell me about how this tradition came to be?
I actually have no idea how it started, to be honest. Okay. I just rocked up to my first Friday and it's just we play a game called Shoot on Sight. So 3 teams. We've got our 3 redheads that are the captains. We wear our armbands, we pick our squad, and then it's just 2-minute games or first to 3 goals, just on rotation. But yeah, it's obviously very competitive, but it's a lot of fun going into games and stuff like that. So
I've heard that Manos as well is someone who gets involved if one of you are missing. So is that?
Yeah, so Manos is the fill-in redhead captain. Yeah, yes he is. Either that, it was Golan at one stage, but he's got the bin lately. Yeah,
he's been strategic.
That's right. Yeah,
he's changed his entire appearance to get a Friday night.
That's right. Yeah, that's it.
Look, and I'll just get you to wrap this up as well. Tell me one story from this season or even seasons gone by where you've noticed the team just is playing really well. It's the last sort of thing you do on a Friday before your game weekend. Can you give me an example of something that's been particularly funny or just brilliant?
Oh yeah, look, I think week in, week out, those Friday nights are always competitive. I think it's a sort of good morale booster leading up to the game. I think we've had a few sort of funny instances, a few good run-ins where there's a few moments in play where I'll shout out Beattie who tripped over the ball with no one even 5 yards near him. So good on Beattie. But yeah, look, other than that, I think we sort of go into the game with a sort of a clear headspace after having a bit of a laugh on that Friday night.
Fantastic. I'll start to wrap this up now, boys. So I do appreciate you both being here. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, really appreciate it. And next time I'll make sure that BD's here himself. But the rest of the slackers are turning up now, so I don't want to keep you for too much longer. But I appreciate you guys being here. So make sure you are watching our first graders, our boys, on Saturday nights. The time is usually around 7 o'clock, but just make sure you keep an eye on your socials. Head on down to Blacktown Football Park, particularly in the second half of the season when, of course, things heat up. We've got a whole bunch. I think it's about 75% majority of our games are at home then. So make sure you stick an eye on your socials and put your notifications on, and you can see exactly when we're playing, and I want to see everyone down there. But once again, thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
See you later. Awesome. And for our final segment of week 9 of the Blacktown Football Hour podcast, I'm here at Quakers Hill Tigers home ground. They've just had to cancel a couple of training sessions for the younger kids, but their prems and reserves are out here still grafting, still making sure that they're tipped and ready to go for our Premier League match of the round this weekend, of course, for our Deploy Football Premier League 2. Thanks for joining us. I'm joined by reserve grade captain Josh, first grade captain Kevin, and coach of both sides, and someone who's extremely involved with this club and someone who we're really proud to have here in Taryn. So thanks very much for joining me, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I've got a whole bunch of questions for these guys. As you can see, different scenario today. We're standing up and we're in their change room, so might sound a little bit different, but I think the change room environment and seating area is quite good. So for our last podcast segment, of course, our match of the round preview, make sure you just sit back, relax, and if you are the opposition coming up against this weekend, so Prospect, make sure you're taking notes as to what you hear here. Sorry I couldn't give you one for Prospect, but you can go back and watch their previous two and watch their games as well. So let's get right into it. I think, Josh, we'll start with you. Tell me how the reserve grade season's gone so far. So I'll pass you this.
Well, it's been pretty good. So 2 draws and 2 wins, so pretty good to start off with. Another noticeable thing is 0 goals conceded, which I'm sure the whole team is proud of. But yeah, overall good start to the season, and yeah.
Okay, and the exact same question for your side?
Yeah, in first grade, we're quite happy with our start. Obviously, our pre-season was fantastic. We had a shocking round 1, which I believe we've really bounced back from, and we're working each week to get better and better, and I think we're coming into this week quite well.
Fantastic. So I know I mentioned that this question might be a little bit later on, but I think I might ask you now, Taryn. And this is your second year as the head coach, and of course in control of both sides as well. So I want to know from last season. Yes, it was interrupted and we got half the season, but tell me about sort of the progression that you guys have made on the pitch, off of the pitch, at training. Maybe your approach to games. Can we go through all of those and see where 2022 is better off than 2021?
Obviously, we've changed personnel with a few players and different things, which has bolstered our squad. The boys have really responded well to pre-season. I've upped the ante and different things because, as I said, this is a few-year process. So I've stepped up the process from last year, to which the boys have responded really well with, to where they're positioning and where they're sitting now at this point of the season. So it's still early on, but where we're going and where we're at is quite pleasing.
I spoke to Kevin at our Premier League Media Day, I do believe, of which that interview will be going up either tonight or tomorrow, depending on what the day is. Anyway, he spoke about those couple of changes that have been made on and off the pitch personnel and just sort of, again, approach. I wanted to know, of those things that you sort of mentioned, if you can cast your mind all the way back, have you noticed that, yes, that was something you said in pre-season, but have those things sort of been coming to fruition now? Are you noticing these changes are for the better?
Yeah, I believe all the changes we've made are definitely for the better, and it's only going to keep keep getting better. Obviously, it's a very young squad, so we're all developing slowly. But if we continue to work week in, week out, sky's the limit.
Now, mentioning that young squad, Josh, I'll go to you when I finish this, but it's so important that there's consistency in play style and that reserve grade and first grade train together as much as possible, and you sort of have the same philosophy and, like I said, brand of football. Are you noticing that the boys are progressing, especially having conceded 0 goals so far, which is fantastic, that you guys are ready at beckon and call if you need to step up into that first grade side? Are you ready and seeing that the boys are ready to do that if needed?
Yeah, of course. I'm sure any of the boys will be more than happy and very eager and keen to get into that Premier League spot. So, yeah, everyone would definitely be up for it. So,
if you cast your mind back to our first match of the round that you guys featured in last year, it was at Blacktown Football Park, which you are back at this weekend. It was it was a midweek game alternatively, and it was really well attended. I think one thing I really noted was that the club culture was quite good, and it was loud, and it was a bit boisterous, yes, but I think it was passionate. I just think it was great. I think the 20s were there in their entire 15-person, 16-person squad. So, Taryn, I'll ask you, what are you noticing about club culture here at Quakers? It's a very historic club and huge participation numbers across the board from all ages. Is the club culture here something that you're looking to change, or is it something you've just walked straight into and you're really happy with what you're seeing and there's no need to sort of shift anything at all?
I don't think there's been a need to shift anything really. There is already a great culture within the club, but then as well amongst now the 21s, the reserves and first, there's a great bond between all of them type of thing, and it's competitive for spots, so they're backing each other, helping each other. And then, on the weekends, we're getting a lot of the grassroots junior teams coming down, supporting and watching and going from there. So, the club culture is very good and continue to build on it.
Excellent. In regards to your role and your role as captains for both of your respective sides, can you tell me about what it means for what you do? So we'll start with you, Josh. What you do on the pitch? Like, are you the kind of, and we spoke about this before, but are you the kind of person who is the first to go to the referee? Are you the kind of person who just sort of stands back a little, perhaps, and leads by example? So what's your role? We'll ask you on the pitch, and then I'll ask you differently on what your sort of role off of the pitch is. So we'll start with you.
I'd like to be the kind of captain that not is that aggressive kind, but the one that will motivate players and get them to play for that full 90. And just to back everyone. And like at the end of the day, you want everyone to enjoy themselves and not like yell at each other in a way, which is always stay positive. That's what I like to do.
Absolutely. And now off the pitch, in terms of perhaps it's organising like some team bonding sessions, or it's chatting to a player who maybe you identified as maybe having a difficult week or had an off game. Tell me about what your role in the club as a captain is when it comes to that.
Yeah, as a captain off the pitch, I'm someone who, if I've seen someone's had a difficult session or something hasn't gone their way or they've had a tough game, I will privately message them, ask them what's happening, if they're okay, and we'll sort of work towards what we've got to do to get them back focused and playing their best football. And then, we have got the group chats, we're constantly checking where the boys are turning up to training, and we're just preparing the boys on socials, off the field, for games and training. So, that sort of thing.
Now, the good thing, or perhaps the bad thing about having watched Prospect on 2 match of the rounds is you get to watch them, but they've had 2 totally different starting 11s almost. I think they've been probably 75% of their starting 11 changed as to what their first to the one last week was. So is there, obviously without giving anything away, is there anything you've noticed, Taryn, and you're looking to exploit, or are you going to change your play style a little bit to try and pick on the left back, pick on the right back? Is there things you've been able to notice? Obviously, without giving them away.
Not completely. Look, I worry about our team first and foremost. Make sure we're doing the right things. If we do our things and get our things right, then I don't have a need to worry about the opposition type of thing. It's do our things and make sure we're accountable for what we need to do, and then we'll adjust and go as we need to, day in, day out, to what team we're playing against.
So one more sort of big question I have, and that is, and again, I don't want you to give too much away, but what is the sort of philosophy of football that it is here? Is it really proactive? Is it reactive? Of which there's nothing wrong with either of those. It's just a play style. So how would you sort of describe the sort of football you guys play?
We want to try and be proactive, and try and get the ball and get it down and get it moving. Yeah, not the old English style football of long balls. We want to get the ball down and play. These boys have worked really hard over the last 2 years to show that they can play football. So let's get the ball down, let's get it playing, let's get it moving.
Now, if my memory serves me correctly, you're either a 6 or an 8. 6. You're 6. So obviously, if you want to get the ball moving, one of the biggest things you'll have to be doing is being in the centre of that. Really, have you noticed that your ability to look up and find a pass, or your ability to sort of read play has progressed in your time here?
Yeah, since Taryn's has come on board, I believe playing in the centre of the park is something that I've gotten better at. Looking up, looking behind before I receive the ball, and those sort of things is something that I've been working on. And yeah, I think it's slowly coming into place.
Good. Last thing, and Josh, I'll go to you. Obviously, there's no match of the round for our reserve grade, but there's the incentive to push and get into that first grade spot. Are the boys going to be out there in numbers supporting at Blacktown Football Park? Because obviously your game is just prior, so you guys can just hang around. So will we see you guys again and be able to hear you through the microphone?
Yeah, you absolutely will. So not just us, but the 21s and all the Tigers family will be there. So it'll be very good to have a good crowd, and let's get the dub.
For sure. Well, we'll see you then on 6 p.m. on Saturday nights for Prospect and Quakers Hill Tigers in our Deploy Premier League 2 match of the round. It's going to be fantastic, of course, commentated by me, and it'll be great to see these guys back in action for the first time in, I think, about 10 months or 11 months. So it'll be really good to see you guys out there again, and can't wait to see how you guys have progressed. But also, thanks very much for giving me your time tonight.
Thank you very
Cheers,
much.
thank you.
Appreciate it. And now we'll wrap up the show for the week.
Thanks everyone for tuning back in after watching those 3 interview sections and listening through the results of some of the highest packages before. Let me just center myself a little bit for your benefit and mine. I've just adjusted myself, even though I just finished recording the intro technically. I just wanted to put the 16s on in the background, because why not? Good bit of football to watch while you look at this ugly head. But yes, I sponsor. I said I wanted to talk about that a little bit more. If you do need help, please contact me. My email is media@bdsfa.com. You can ask me any questions you have about iSponsor, or you can contact Liam Roach, whose email will be posted throughout the video and in the description on YouTube. He's a really good person to talk to, and I think he's feeling like he might want to get a bit more involved in terms of teaching you guys how to use it. So again, really simple. The crux of it is, if you want to support your local club without quite literally spending any more money than you normally would, we can help you out. Be a really good thing to do, I think. Then we had our boys. The boys were fantastic. Really great to chat to the 2 ginger ninjas, I've been told to call them, just to keep them in their place. And finally, the Quakers Hill Tigers boys and Taryn were really a little bit nervous, but I really thank them for having me in their great venue, and we can't wait to have them here and then go visit them for one of the later match of the rounds of the year. I'm now going to show you the goal of the week. The momentum of the ball completely, and now Prospect are coming forward again. Fossano, brilliant. How are they being left this unmarked? Cheeky finish attempted, and a goal given. Prospect make it 4. Hope you enjoyed that goal of the week. What a sensational finish it was. I don't know which one it's going to be just yet, so it's a surprise. So if it is the chip, or it is the finish from the Mini Roos game, or if it is something else that's come to my attention, I've got a feeling it might be that chip though. So if it is you, George Sarkos, I do believe it was. Fantastic job to you. I know you wanted to say that as the goal of the week as well. So, in fact, you know what? Yeah, that's going to be the goal of the week. George Sarkos' chip in the match of the round is going to be the goal of the week. So, once again, thanks very much for joining us here, guys. We're going to wrap up the episode now. Like and subscribe if you haven't already to this great channel. I hope you really enjoyed seeing what we did here this week. A bit of a different setup in terms of we weren't in our normal spots. Maybe the audio sounds a little bit different to you guys, but I think certainly an enjoyable episode with great content nonetheless, if I do say so myself. So, from my heart to yours, thank you very much again for tuning in. And I'm going to cue the outro music. There's the cymbals, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.